It's been a lot of good summer days here, man, so far, man. And I can honestly say, man, the summer been real so far, man. We had the WNBA showing out in every aspect. I mean, you had the NBA draft. I mean, it's been hella good, man. Well, how's y'all summer been so far, bro?
I mean, I'm in Georgia with you, so you know it hot. I mean, you know it hot. But I mean, it's been good. It's been good. I can't complain. The most important part of my summer, my daughter's down, so of course she makes any summer better for me. So, I mean, work's been good, life's been good. I can't really complain, man. Can't really complain about nothing. Life is good. I feel blessed to be alive and being enjoying this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Plus, man, look, we got less than 30 days for that first football game. Come on, man. We got less than 30 days, man. We got less than 30 days. Flash, what about you, man? How your summer been, man?
Busy. It's been a busy summer. It's going to get busier. So weather has been it's been a lot of rain, which really sucks because now the mosquitoes are out with a vengeance right now. And I hate mosquitoes. Like, there needs to be more spiders so there are less mosquitoes. But it's been busy. It's been good, and I'm looking forward to like the next month or so. I got a lot planned. I'm going to SummerSlam and everything like that. So I'm looking forward to the next month and a half or so.
And I'll throw this on there real quick. I want Bad Blood tickets so bad because it's in State Farm. They're bringing the pay-per-view back. They're bringing Bad Blood back, and it's in Atlanta. Ooh, I want tickets, bro. I want tickets.
I do gotta say that's one thing. I think we need to meet at an event that's like in the middle between us at some point.
Yeah, we got to, man. We'll make that happen.
Yeah, we really do. We really do.
Especially after graduation, I can make that happen next year, man.
Because I plan on, I'm going to SummerSlam, and with the Royal Rumble being in Indy in January, that's the next one, hopefully. Like we need to meet somewhere in the middle, somewhere where we can all meet and go to an event. So I'm totally down with that. Get PSP to go and everybody, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Man, oh man, hell of a summertime. And not to mention, man, hey, the pool parties have been off the chain. You know what it is. So the pool parties have been off the chain. So, hey, read into that what you will. If you know, you know. So, man, look, but let's get this thing off. Like I said, man, we got less than 30 days before that pigskin come back, man. But for now, we got to focus on a lot of other things like basketball. Because just this past weekend, we had a certain star make his NBA debut in the summer league, man, by the name of BRONNY James, man. And he hasn't scored a lot. It wasn't spectacular, but I always say, give it time, because remember Victor Wembanyama, his first game wasn't the most spectacular. And we have to keep in mind that, BRONNY, and I hate to bring this up, he did have some health issues in college. So that could be slowing him down. That could have been very well the thing that slowed him down. So, I mean, he did have a few health scares in college, and, hey, that kind of held him back from us seeing the full package as well. But I'd like to know, starting with you, Flash, what is your thoughts about BRONNY James' debut?
So I got a BRONNY James video coming out tonight on TikTok, and so, but it's fine. I'm just going to ruin my video here. Is he a star? Is he really? I mean, is he a star? Is he like? He's a star because his dad. Like, he's not really a star. He wasn't a star player in college. I mean, he was pretty good in high school, but like, he's not really a star. I think he's a star because of, and the attention is there because of who his father is. And I think, and I don't get me wrong, I think everybody hating on his debut, that's overblown. I think there can be two truths at the same time. I think we can all agree that he's not actually a star. but I also can. But also the overzealousness and the of wanting the kid to fail, and then what's up, Brandon? And also just crapping on the kid's first game. It's his first game. And the thing that I was kind of going to get to in my TikTok video is how much pressure is on this kid. I would not. I'm blowing my TikTok video. I wouldn't want to be him in the aspect of the amount of pressure that's put on him. Because I know that you and PSP spoke about nepotism when it came to, Bronny and LeBron and him being drafted and everything. And it's like, yeah, that's an obvious thing. And I think that's what people hate on. But now it's like a lot of people want him to fail. And so he's given this thing on a silver platter. And now it's like, in my mind, if I was like him, I'm like, I have to succeed no matter how I'm not as talented as the rest of these guys. Like that pressure must be insane. But he's got skills.
Yeah.
I think he's got good footwork. He's got to go to the G League. Like that's obvious. I think they already said that too. So I just think that I just don't think he's a star. I think that's going a little too far.
Fair enough. BRL.
When we initially talked about Bronny James as far as like the NBA draft was concerned, the one thing that I really kind of harped on with him, and I think he's going to get to show off early in the summer league, is his ability to play defense. Bronny James is a damn good on-ball defender, and I think he's going to get to show that early. He's already starting to show that. I mean, the last game, yeah, he did. Yeah, he only scored 3 points, but it's the all-around game. 3 blocks, 2 steals. I mean, he's going to get to show off defensively what he's capable of in this summer league. And honestly, I feel like early that's going to be his bread and butter, and that's what's going to really get him on the court, seeing minutes, being able to contribute is his defense. Because I think it was kind of like a similar thing with Victor Wembanyama, even though he was more advanced offensively coming into the league than Bronny is at this point. But we knew Victor Wembanyama was going to make his bread with his defense. And we were all kind of figuring once the offense comes, he's going to be a force. And that came way sooner than I think a lot of people expected with how good Victor Wembanyama was this past season. And I think Bronny James is kind of in a similar boat, but we know the offense ain't nowhere near what Wembanyama's is. But I feel like his perimeter defense, his on-ball defense, like the video that was clipped talking about Bronny, and I was on the IG. I was in my IG and I was looking at some of the comments, and someone said like, he's got his dad's athleticism. No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Is he athletic? Is he athletic? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was kind of like a late blossoming thing with him, but when he got his athleticism, it hit hard. But LeBron James is arguably the most athletic player in the history of the NBA, and we're talking about he has his dad's athleticism. Nah, he may have a fourth of what his dad has athletically, but you got to think LeBron James is on an elite tier of athleticism, rare, that we've really never seen in the NBA. So if you have a fourth of what LeBron James has, you have a hell of a lot of athleticism, and Bronny James has that. So he's definitely going to be able to bring that into the league and, carry that some forth when he's finally able to get minutes. But I agree with Flash 100%. He needs to go to the G League, if anything, to develop his offensive game. He needs to develop his offensive game. He needs to get better as far as like going, taking the ball down the court. He needs to be able to handle, his ball handling. He's got good ball. He's got decent ball handling, but he needs to improve in that. He needs to improve his jump shot. I mean, just the basic things with him offensively, he needs to go to the G League and work on. But it's like I said in like one of our previous podcasts, I think the ceiling for Bronny is not one of the greatest players of all time. People need to stop trying to heart that pressure on him, trying to compare him to his dad. He's not gonna be Bron. I don't think he'll ever come close to Bron. But what I think Bronny could do, his ceiling is if he could develop his game, he could be a multi-time All-Star if he developed his game. because I feel like if he develops his game, I mean, good gracious, look at guys who have been multi-time all-time all-stars who shouldn't have been multi-time all-stars. So I mean, I'm not saying he can't. I'm not saying So I'm not saying he's not capable of doing it. So I like that's his ceiling. Like the highest level he could get. Yeah, like the highest level he could get. Two, maybe three at his peak.
My ceiling for him, that's the question I was going to ask. What does everybody feel about his ceiling in hoop? Like, and mine would be a poor man's Drew Holiday. Like, that's his ceiling to me.
I like that.
Like, if he develops a shot and he could be a really, really good backcourt defender.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I like that. I like. You know what? I can't really think of another player. Drew Holiday, a little more athleticism. I like that.
Yeah, I don't think he'll ever be as good as Drew Holiday, but I
know
that type of player. So like a poor man's Drew Holiday, where like he might sneak into an all-star game or two, you know. But I don't think just the way I watched him shoot. Again, now you could change. I don't think he's going to be like this stalwart offensive player, but I think I think he's going to be. Yeah, I think if he develops a decent outside shot and then he becomes a really good backcourt defender, I think that would be the goal.
Yeah, because you've already seen early in the summer league his transition game going to be off the charts.
Yeah,
because homeboy's fast and he can blow by people. He can get up and down the court, and he's obviously got the athleticism to finish. So I feel like his transition game can be like elite in a few years. So I mean, he definitely can develop. I think his defense and his transition ability is going to be what really develops the quickest and get him to a level to where he can eventually see 22, 24, 26 minutes on the court regularly. I just hate. As much as I think it's a great story that he went to the Lakers and he's with his dad, that's not the situation I would have preferred him to go, because that's instant pressure off the bat. And he talked like Rich Paul talked to everybody except LA and Phoenix. If anybody drafted him besides LA and Phoenix, he's going to go to Australia. And I'm just like, come on, bro. Really? Australia? And you really think some of these NBA GMs and owners wouldn't have called your bluff and drafted him if they really, really wanted to? Nobody really wanted him, to be honest with you. Nobody would. If it wasn't for the Lakers drafting him, Bronny would not have been drafted.
No.
He wouldn't have been drafted. And so I feel like for his sake, it's like, since he's there, he needs to go to the G League, really develop his offensive game, and just see where it takes him. Because I really don't care what other folks say. People gonna be like, "Oh, y'all quit hating on him." Ain't nobody hating on him. We just telling you how it is. He needs to develop. Yeah, he needs to develop. He is like raw to the core. Send him to the G League. Let him develop. And like the poor man Drew Holiday comparison, I can get with that.
Go ahead, Champ. Go ahead.
Hey, Lonzo Ball as well before he got hurt. Remember how great of a defender that he was. So I mean,
and his offensive game was really starting to take shape too before he got hurt.
Yes, indeed. And the thing that, piggybacking on what you said, Flash and you, BRF, I don't think that the pressure's on for Bronny at this point, and I don't think that's fair for him personally, because the pressure is to be your father. And I'm just going to be real. There's been some of the most talented guys that we've seen come out of college and high school that wasn't even a fourth of that. And these guys were averaging a hell of a lot more points, a hell of a lot more rebounds, and their stats were loaded to bear. Not to mention they had the athleticism and the smarts to go along with it. So I think a lot of people are going to say anything less than him being at least a 4-time All-Star, his career is going to be a failure. That's anything less than that.
And that's not fair.
we can talk about the ceiling, but I think that people are going to sit up there and say anything less than at least 4 all-star teams is a failure. And I think that's unfair, to be honest with you, because like I said, I can't expect him to be Bron.
I don't think a lot of people are expecting him to be Bron. I think the hate comes from the silver platter thing. I think that's it. I think it's because like what BR said, like if the Lakers don't draft him, he's not getting drafted. Like he's going to go play in Europe or he's going to go to the G League if he wasn't, if his dad wasn't who his dad was. I think that's the hate because in the sports realm or in just in general, fans and people don't like people to be handed things. They hate it. Fans hate it. They immediately turn away from it. And I think that's where the angst and the hate comes from. Yeah. I think anybody that has any brain and realistic, nobody thinks he's going to be his dad. I think if he was like a really good player in college and got drafted in the second round, I don't think there'd be as much hate. Like if he wasn't because he averaged 5 points at USC.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think if he's averages 10 to 12, stuff like that, averages a couple assists and 5-6 rebounds. Everybody he got drafted in the second round, late first. Everybody all right, it's annoying the coverage because he's LeBron kid, but he's good enough to be drafted.
Yeah.
I just think that it's unfair. This is why I feel bad for the kid. It's not like he did this; he was just born into this. So it's out of his control. The hate that he's getting, it's definitely not deserved. That's not his fault.
Yeah. Hey, let's go to the chat real quick, man. While we're at it, big shout out to Brandon from the Block. Check out his show every Monday and Wednesday. The Throwdown is that show. Got to check it out. Shout out to my main man, PSP. Do not forget to tune in tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to the Sports PSP podcast, man. The highlight of Friday nights, man. Look, congratulations to PSP. Almost to 8,000 subscribers, man. Keep up the good work, man. Hey, back to Brandon, Cook, BRF. And shout out to the coach, man. Shout out to the coach, a huge Houston, Texas fan, man. Knows what he's doing. Do a lot of work in the community, man, out there in Texas. Hell of a job, man. Hell of a job. But while we on the subject of basketball, let's switch over to women's basketball. Now, we have had a historic rookie year out of these two players, and the race is still going. So I got to ask this question, man. I know we keep revisiting this time and time again on the show to the point that everybody's sick of it at this point. But, hey, this is a historic race for Rookie of the Year. Who taking home the crown? CeCe or Angel Reese? Now, as we all know, Caitlin Clark was the first to get a triple-double in the WNBA. She was the first rookie, to get a triple-double in the WNBA. Not to mention, a couple games ago, she was the first player since 1973 in men's or women's basketball to get 29 points, 5 rebounds, 5 steals, and 5 assists. And she was the first rookie, and she has 3 consecutive double-doubles, the most by a point guard in history of the WNBA. But out of that same mouth, Angel Reese extended the streak tonight to 15 double-doubles in a row, breaking Candace Parker's record. This is a WNBA record. So I have to ask y'all, man, start with you, BRF. Who's the Rookie of the Year, bro? Angel Reese.
Wait, hold on.
Hi.
This is my daughter. Might as well go and introduce her.
Hi, my name is Maya.
Hi.
Hey, Maya.
I got a new phone.
Nice.
Maya, how old are you?
9.
9. I have a daughter that's 6. Her name's Willow.
Here, he said her name's Willow. All right.
Do you have an iPhone?
No, I don't. But y'all gotta go because I gotta talk. But
Jared can
say bye before you go.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, go ahead. All right.
Stop.
Well, you got to go. All right, I love you too. Go ahead. Wow, way to get that introduction out of the way. Okay.
Hey,
All right.
hey, my daughter's done it like 3 times already. So
You know, you know what? It's all good. Hey, it was bound to happen eventually, so it's all good. She ran in, opened it up. I'm like, oh shoot, here she come. Maya, come on, say hey to the crew. Come on. All right. All right. So, all right. Back to the subject at hand. I'm seeing a lot of this discourse, and it's like, for those that's like supporting Angel Reese, y'all don't. It's not close. Caitlin Clark is doing this, and and I'm just like, I think Caitlin Clark at this point still has a slight lead for the award. But if Angel Reese about to bust out double doubles every game for the rest of the season, you can't dispute that. And the one thing I'm noticing from Angel Reese a lot, like more these past few games, she's starting to take more jump shots. You can see her mid-range game starting to develop more. And this was always my one feeling with Angel Reese, because she has a good post game. She's obviously a tremendous rebounder already. If she develops any kind of mid-range game, the girl is going to be a menace. Like, people just need to face facts when it comes to Angel Reese. That mid-range game shows up, she's going to be a menace. She's going to be a complete menace. I mean, people just need to face the facts. I think right now, though, I think you still kind of have to give a slight edge to Caitlin Clark, because the big games she puts up are like the game she did, you know, what was it, like 29 points? I can't remember how. I think she had like 13. Was it like 13 assists, 5 boards? Like, I'm talking about when Caitlin Clark puts up a big game, it's like a completely stat-filled line. So I think that's where like a lot of it's going to come in. That's still going to kind of give her the edge. But one thing people have to understand about these women, they play 2 completely different positions. Caitlin Clark's a point guard. Angel Reese is a power forward. I mean, usage rate is not going to be the same. Shot selection is not going to be the same. Usage is not going to be the same with these two. And that's something people need to kind of look at as well. Of course, Caitlin Clark's going to have a higher usage rate. She is the point guard. She's bringing the ball up and down the floor. That's her job. That's what she's going to do. She's going to have the ability, and the defense is looking at her, and the offense is scheming around her anyway. So she's going to get opportunities to get more shots, because that's what she do. She's a shooter. Shooters shoot at the end of the day. They shoot. Angel, where her effectiveness comes in, is her ability to rebound, put back shots. But at the same time, her effectiveness is going to come in different ways, because the offense ain't necessarily going to be like, they're not necessarily running the offense through her, but her contribution is really like helping with, you know, the screen, helping with the spacing, and helping helping the other players get involved and get shots. It's just that what Angel Reese is doing is basically controlling the paint and controlling the boards. And in like a rare way, we haven't seen too many forwards in the WNBA really be able to do outside of a hand select few WNBA players as far as forwards in the league. So I just feel like the race, the ones that support Caitlin Clark that say it's not a race because she's putting up this stat line and this stat line, aren't failing to see how Angel Reese is impacting the game with more than just her offense, which is why this race is going to be neck and neck throughout the course of the year. Like I said, I think Caitlin Clark has a slight edge. I would give it to her now. But I feel like this is going to be one of those topics where week by week, people are going to flip. People are going to flip because somebody's going to get cold, somebody's going to get hot, and it's going to flip the other way around. So I think it's just going to be neck and neck the entire way. And like I said, you know what I'm saying? I made the comparison. I mean, you remember the clip? You made the clip. I made the 2003 comparison with Bron and Melo. And this is basically, and it's almost basically how it's playing out. Although Melo being with Denver was like a far better team than what the Cleveland Cavaliers were in 2003. Whereas with the Fever, with the Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky, they're both like kind of like neck and neck fighting, trying to get into the playoffs. So I think that's what's really adding, you know, I think that's what's adding a lot of drama to it too. The fact that they're both fighting to get into the playoffs, I think that's what's adding a lot of fire to this Rookie of the Year race as well. But yeah, like I said, right now I'm gonna go CC. But I'll tell you what, I've been on the Angel Reese bandwagon since her being in LSU. I'm happy to see her thrive. I'm happy to see her getting better as a player. So don't be surprised within like in a couple of weeks, I'm saying Angel Reese should just take this bad boy home because the race is just going to be that close. But I think right now, slight edge, I will give it to Caitlin Clark. It's not as wide as the Caitlin Clark fans are making it. It's not as wide as they're trying to make it seem. This is a really, really close race.
I believe so too. Before I let you go, Flash, I want to bring something to everyone's attention who's watching at this point. For those who keep bringing up Caitlin Clark's turnovers, let me break it down to you. It's because a lot of the players who she's passing it to are not catching the ball.
It's bad. Like, it's bad.
It's bad. It's real bad. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, what they used to say when we played football, hands like frying pans.
Yeah.
So, and for Angel Reese, for everybody who said, oh, yeah, she's jacking up shots in order and getting her own rebound and things of that nature, it's because she's being double-teamed in the paint. If you look at the game a lot, she's getting double-teamed a lot in the paint. So each of their flaws can be explained. Caitlin Clark, it's not just because she's throwing the ball to the other team. A lot of the young women who was out there with her on that court cannot catch that ball while she's throwing those Magic Johnson, John Stockton type passes. For Angel Reese, when she's up under the rim trying to get those rebounds, she's trying to go back up and put those putback shots in because she's being double teamed. So when you when you look at the game and know the game, it explains the flaws of each one of these young women's game. The turnovers are because they can't catch. The missed shots right up under the goal is because she's getting double teamed. It's hard to make shots when you're getting double teamed right up under the rim. Hell, it's hard to make shots when you're being double teamed anywhere on the court, much less when you're a big and you're being double teamed. But I just wanted to get that out of the way because the thing is, I don't think people are understanding that at a certain point. The minute one of them has a bad game, they say, oh, yeah, turnovers. Okay, because this person couldn't catch. I mean, if you watch the game, you would know that. But I digress. Flash, who's your Rookie of the Year so far, bro?
So I'm going to fall a little bit in the middle. I'm not on the it's not a close race. It's Caitlin by a mile, but I also don't think it's as close as Caitlin by a hair. The reason why is, this doesn't mean that I don't think Angel Reese is a great player now, and it is going to be even better as she continues her skills to develop. So nobody listening, please don't take that as like Angel Reese. And plus, I love a good villain. And honestly, she's been really like a little bit more like pull the villain thing back a little bit, by the way, the last couple of weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Some of the quotes that she said about her and Caitlin Clark, that she wants to do this for years to come and she wants to see Caitlin succeed, you know, and other stuff. So it's like I feel like it's now the thing that we discussed, or like when this kind of thing like first got all heated, where it's now just becoming – it's just about the basketball, which is good. I like that because now we're just discussing. It's not squabbly, whiny. Sorry for the kids that don't fit stuff, you know, stuff that doesn't matter. It's just about the basketball. And that's awesome. Anywho, I think the reason why you brought up Caitlin's passing and her teammates, frying pan hands to say the least. I don't think we've seen her type of passing in the WNBA like that. Like, she sees the floor like
John Stockton.
Yeah, or like Bird. Go back and watch Bird's passes. Like, she sees the floor like Bird. And the reason why I don't think it's like by a hair, I think there's a decent lead by Caitlin, is because I think Caitlin affects the whole game. Like, Caitlin is the vehicle that drives the whole game and affects the whole game. She not only affects it when she's on offense, she affects it when she's on defense because of where she is on the court and her passing and her shooting ability. Like, she affects all aspects of the game. Where Angel Reese, I'm not saying that she doesn't affect the game, but her effect on the game is smaller. And that's why I think Caitlin's got that lead. It's not. I think BRF is completely 100% right that if Angel Reese develops like a mid-range game and even improves on her post game and gets a couple like just where she needs a couple of moves. If she develops that game and even a slight outside shot, she's going to be awful to deal with, like terrible. But Caitlin right now, I don't. It's not by a mile, but it's by a couple miles. That's kind of how I look at it.
Hey, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I would not be opposed, especially when you have a rookie that's stated not only to make. Both of them have made the All-Star game already. They're going to play together in the Olympic. They're going to play together against the Olympic team. But when you really look at the history that they're making, both, make the double-doubles and all of that, but look at the history they're about to make. One of them has the potential in Caitlin Clark to lead the league in assists. Angel Reese has the potential to lead the league over Asia Wilson, who is the reigning league MVP. In rebounds. She is out rebounding the best player in the WNBA in Asia Wilson right now. So when you take that into perspective, it is historic when you think about it. So I'm going to continue to beat the drum for Angel Reese, but I will say this. I would not be opposed if they did a co-rookie of the year. These are the two hottest players in the WNBA at this point. They're both making a hell of a lot of history at this time. I would not be opposed to them being co-rookies of the year. Because when you think about the history that they're making and the impact that they're having on the game, hell, BRF, you from Georgia, they just sold out. They just sold out the arena yesterday where Angel Reese came to town down here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
They sold it out for both players, man. That tells you all you need to know right there.
Exactly. They sold it out for both players. So, hey, man, I would not be opposed to the WNBA saying, hey, these rookies have made a hell of a lot of history, especially if Caitlin Clark is able to lead the league in assists like she's on track to, and especially if Angel Reese can out-rebound Asia Wilson. Because right now she's in the lead. And when you think about who she's beating in that race, as far as the rebounding title, that says something. They're already starting to call her the poor man's Asia Wilson at this point. Because that's exactly who she plays like at a certain point in time. She just don't have the mid-range and the three-point that Asia Wilson.
Not yet. Not yet. And I think that's the thing that I said when this whole thing first started like weeks ago. Caitlin's Clark, and I think people are seeing it now because the teammates are starting to get a little bit better and anticipate Caitlin. This is where the practice stuff was so big. Is like with Caitlin, like the way that she passes. Like I said it weeks and weeks ago. Her passing ability is it's amazing to watch. Like the lanes she sees on the floor, and the fact that they weren't practicing together for the first I don't know how many weeks of the season. No wonder they were turning the ball over so much. Any team would be like that, whether it be a men's team, women's team, college, high school, like whatever. If you're not practicing, then yeah, of course there's gonna be a ton of turnovers and mistakes. So. But I agree with you, Chan. I wouldn't mind a one unless one of them really separates from the other one.
Yeah.
I just like the excitement for the league. I just think that they're in the it's like you turn on any talk show and the WNBA is being talked about every day and in a positive way, not in a negative way.
Yeah. I can totally agree with you on that, man, because, hey, as you know, I was covering the WNBA even with Sue Bird. I covered Sue Bird's retirement. I covered the last couple of sellouts that they had in the finals, but I've never seen as much WNBA coverage on every platform as much as I am now, and it's flat out amazing. But let's switch gears in the WNBA, and let's go from rookie to the most dominant player in the WNBA. Now, you hear this phrase GOAT being tossed around all the time like it's literally like a piece of chicken or something like that. I mean, I couldn't think of anything else. You hear it tossed around like everywhere. So my thing is, it gets tossed around so much that it's really annoying at a certain point. But there is a player in the WNBA that has a chance to be the GOAT while they're still playing, and that player is A'ja Wilson. You know, because she's already won back-to-back WNBA titles, going for the three-peat this year. Won two out of three of the last MVP. Repeated as Defensive Player of the Year. Was the rebounding champion, just to name a few, not to mention the block. So my question to you guys, you know, since we all know the history of the WNBA, and you know, we just didn't start watching three weeks ago. Is A'ja Wilson the GOAT if she can win the MVP this season, three-peat as champion, and three-peat as the Defensive Player of the Year, and get the WNBA Finals MVP? Me personally, I'm going to say yes. For you to win the Defensive Player of the Year 3 times in a row while winning the MVP, and you win the NBA Finals and the Finals MVP, that's something to be said. Because we haven't seen, especially in today's WNBA with all this new talent coming in. As we all know, the Houston Comets, they four-peated. But you have to keep in mind, back then it wasn't as many games. You only played one game in order to advance, and you only played around 24 games. So I think that she definitely has a case in order to be the GOAT at this point in time. A'ja Wilson does. But I'll let you go, Flash, and see what you think.
Well, I think that the WNBA has been around enough now where we can start having that kind of discussion of who's on Mount Rushmore and who's the GOAT. And yeah, I think if they win another one, I think she's definitely. I think she's could be obviously in the discussion. But this is. There's so much talent now and awareness that is coming to the WNBA now. I think her being, ascended into the GOAT level. I don't think it's going to last long because the talent pool. It's like I look at it this way. Like I'm kind of Mr. Analogy guy. This is like early UFC. Early UFC, you go and like Chuck Liddell, like man, that dude's the GOAT. Like if you took Chuck Liddell against most fighters today, Chuck Liddell would get smoked because the sport's just evolved so much since then. Where A'ja Wilson is in that middle ground right now, where we're seeing a huge transition. So I think she's going to be the GOAT. I just don't think she's going to be at the top of the mountain for long.
BRF?
That was actually a really good analogy. I like that with early UFC because like you said, you like the early days, you'd go back to like Ken Shamrock, Dan Severn, you know, the guys early that could really fight would just destroy everybody. And then it kind of started to evolve a little bit. You get Chuck Liddell, you get Tito Ortiz, you get Anderson Silva coming up in there, guys like that. It started to kind of slowly evolve a little bit. And then just the talent level just blew the roof off of the USC. And with like so many more weight classes and so many more really good fighters who could beat you in so many different ways. See, before it used to be just, you know, if you could strike and you got hands, it didn't matter. You could just win. Now it's like, oh, well, we looking at matchups like, well, okay, the striker can do this, but you got this guy that can take you down the ground and pound and stuff like that. I think A'ja Wilson, if she does all these things, I think she's definitely, I feel like, already on the Mount Rushmore as far as like WNBA players. And I think because I remember I watched the WNBA in the early stages. So I saw the Houston Comets run that 4P back. I saw them run that 4P back, but then again, it was like, yeah, like there weren't many games, there weren't a lot of teams, and then it was like the same teams coming at them for the trophy. So I mean, mainly the New York Liberty at the time. So I mean, like, so yeah, it's like seeing where the WNBA has evolved and like the talent level really kind of increased to a higher level, and now with what Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are really about to do, as far as you're about to see, the college, how the talent pool is about to really expand. I saw a video saying like, I mean, and I don't want to put pressure on Juju Watkins yet, but it was like, okay, we got Larry and Bird. Okay, MJ's about to come. Putting it on Juju Watkins, and I'm just like, yo, slow down. Don't do that. Don't do that to her just yet. Don't do it to her just yet. I think right now, Angel Wilson is clearly the best player in the WNBA, and it's been so, honestly, for a few years now. I mean, she just does everything. She just does everything better than everybody else. She just does everything better, and the fact that she's led the Vegas Aces like she has, just being, not only putting up the points, but helping them be the best team, be the standard bearer in the WNBA. I think she has a real shot to establish herself as the GOAT if she does all those things. I mean, three-time defensive player of the year, and then you throw an MVP and the Finals MVP and another chip in that. I don't think really there's another player you could put ahead of her at that point in the existence of the WNBA. Because I mean, if you want Mount Rushmore, you got what? Candace Parker. I guess if you had to throw a Mount Rushmore, out there, if I had to throw a Mount Rushmore of the WNBA out there right now, I think you could already put Angel Wilson up there. Cynthia Cooper, Candace Parker, Diana Taurasi.
No Lisa Leslie?
Or Lisa. Yeah. I mean, you could say, yeah, you could put her up there. But I mean, even still, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. Diana Taurasi and the way she came into the league and how she was able to just really kind of do her thing from a rookie on to where she's at now, and still, was she 42, 43, and still putting up like really, really good numbers. So yeah, you could throw Lisa. I mean, if you want to, I mean, look, if you want to put Lisa Leslie in there, I'm not going to argue with you because of how dominant she was in the early stages of the WNBA. But I don't know. It's something. It's just always been something about Diana Taurasi, her skill set, her leadership, just everything. Like just bringing it from UConn into the WNBA and really never slowing down. But I watch that girl play sometimes, and Angel Wilson is there's a fluidity about her. It's like no nonsense. Like she goes, and then you hear her interview and talk about that interview she had where she was on that press conference, and she's just talking about just how she just like picks the game like piece for piece. Like it's like she studies, like she wants to be the best, and she studies to be the best. And how can you not admire that about any player in any sport? I mean, that's stuff you have to look at and you have to admire and you have to respect. So it's the fact that she brings it on the court, but she prepares herself mentally before each game, does the film work, does whatever she needs to do to get ready on a day-to-day basis. I mean, and it shows on the court, night in, night out, year in, year out. I think she does establish herself as the GOAT if she gets all this done. But I do agree with Flash. It's the way the talent pool is about to really blow up. You don't know how long that's going to be, because it's about to be like a wave of like really, really good women's players about to come in and put their stamp on the league. But I do think she does establish herself as the GOAT if she does all those things.
Like I think if you look at Caitlin Clark's skill set, 5 to 7 years from now, I think she should be, as long as they put a decent team around her, like she should already be like sneaking into the Mount Rushmore argument.
As long I can see that, but that's the thing. On you said it. As long as they put a good team around her, and she ultimately wins, because she could put up the crazy stats, but if she's not winning,
She's got to win.
She got to win.
Yeah.
Hey, like good old JR said, in this business, if you want to be anybody, you got to win that gold. So,
exactly.
They got to put that. You got to put a good team around. And I think with Leah Boston, that's going to be a combination for you. Once they get on the same accord, Caitlin Clark and Leah Boston, much like Angel Reese and Kennedy Carter are getting on the same page at this point in time. Once those two combinations get on the same page, they're gonna do some damage in this league.
I'm excited to see next year. That's my excitement, to see these girls with an off season. Mm-hmm. That's my excitement. I'm excited for next year.
Mm-hmm.
And then you add Paige Beckers to it. Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited.
Not to mention Cameron Brink coming back.
Right.
Cameron Brink is coming back because let's just keep it all the way 100. Before she got hurt, we wasn't even it just came back to Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Before she got hurt, Cameron Brink was running away with the Rookie of the Year because she was shifting it up. Let's just keep it all the way real. Caitlin Clark might have been the headliner, and Angel Reese might have been the headliner, but before she got hurt, Cameron Brink was out in LA shooting lights out. So let's just keep it all the way real. So you have to ask yourself, if Cameron Brink doesn't get injured, are we still even having this conversation about Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark?
It's a 3-horse race if she doesn't get hurt.
Yeah. I agree.
All right. Real quick. What are your thoughts about Asia Wilson being the first WNBA player to grace the 2K cover?
Not another choice. Not another choice. She deserved that 1,000%. That was not another choice.
Flash.
I would have done the marketing thing. I would have put both Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese on there. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not do the? You could have done a whole marketing scheme with Magic and Bird and her and the two of them, and putting them both on the cover and having an old McDonald's commercial connected to it, like the Bird Magic. Like, you could have done anything with it. So I think it's just kind of a little bit of a missed opportunity when it comes to the marketing stuff. If we go back when we were kids and watching the McDonald's commercials with the games of horse between Bird and Jordan and stuff like that, and the awesome commercials. I just think it's a missed opportunity. That's it.
I don't even know if people eat damn McDonald's anymore. I ain't touched them old nasty ass fries in a long time. So yeah.
It could have been Wendy's. It could have Culver's. Yeah, whatever you guys got down in Georgia. I don't care. It's just I think you could have had an awesome marketing campaign for NBA 2K and have them do old school commercials for it. It just would have been kind of cool to see. Again, this kind of goes back to the thing when they first got in the league. How do they handle the market?
Mm-hmm.
I just missed opportunity. That's it. I no hate to Angel Reese. I just would have gone a different way about it. I wouldn't have gone like Caitlin by herself. I just would have pounced on that rivalry.
Hey, Asia Wilson, man, deserves that cover, man. Asia Wilson, best player in the WNBA right now.
Am I completely talking out of my butt?
Yeah, you talking out your whole butt.
Okay.
No. I don't know. I hear where Flash is coming from. I like the idea with the marketing ploy because I get completely where he's coming from. You got to continue to strike while that iron's hot. So I completely understand that. But at the same time, Asia Wilson making this cover also still helps the WNBA because you're establishing how deep a league this is, and this league isn't just Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. That's why I think the WNBA. That's why I think that's why they picked her. I feel like for something like this, you got to put your best player in the league on the cover for a situation like that. I get Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, but I think you have to put your best player on this cover. I think you have to.
Is Angel Wilson? Is it like a separate cover or is it the cover?
No, they're gonna have like 2K25 is gonna have four. I think they're gonna be like four. I've already seen like they're gonna have like 4 covers because Jason Tatum's the guy. He's the male cover. Yeah. So there's gonna be one with just him. There's gonna be one with just Asia. There's gonna be one with Jason and Asia. And then the Hall of Fame edition, one of the coolest covers I've ever seen is Vince Carter with Vince Carter doing his signature windmill slam dunk contest dunk, and you can see like the bronze, like symbolizing like the Hall of Fame edition. One of the coolest covers I have ever seen.
Hey man, look, since 2K came around, I ain't played NBA Live since. So I mean, I'm just being real, man. I think, hey, when we say the WWE killed WCW, hey, 2K killed NBA Live. So let's just keep it all.
The real, they did. I mean, the realness, the simulation of it, but yet still the fun factor. 2K destroyed Live years ago.
Years ago.
Yeah, years ago.
If they did multiple covers, though, I think they could have snuck in that rivalry somehow.
Yeah, I think they could have too.
They could have.
Like I just think, like I said, like you got to strike while it's hot. Like I want to see, like why I now. Granted, I don't watch a ton of live TV as it is, but like I'm on social media a lot. I haven't seen a McDonald's commercial with Caitlin and Angel Reese. I haven't seen a Nike commercial with Caitlin. And where it shows the rivalry. I mean, like there's that one, I think, Nike commercial with Caitlin Clark in it. But like I think Angel Reese is in it too, I think. But I mean like the things that we were talking about. I just haven't seen that yet. And I'm kind of like, you're kind of fumbling this stuff a little bit. Give me the good stuff.
I think with them being rookies though, I think that kind of plays a part into it, even though they are probably their 2 most marketable players. I hope they're kind of playing it smart and letting this marinate a little bit, because I really do feel like the onslaught is coming, especially if they both make the playoffs. If they both make the playoffs, the onslaught's coming. People might as well just get prepared if they both make the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's a strong possibility that they're both are going to make it as well.
Exactly.
Hey, if you really want to keep it all the way 100, hey, nobody in sports has had a bigger year than Asia Wilson. You are a repeat champion. You're on the cover of 2K, the first ever WNBA player to be on the cover of 2K. You're going for a 3-peat. I mean, you are the front runner for the MVP. You're the front runner for the Defensive Player of the Year, coming off of your second straight. I mean, hey, Jason Tatum is doing good in his own right, but out of everyone who was on there, Asia Wilson has arguably the greatest year right now. I mean, and it's not even close. So.
She got them both already locked up as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly. It's not even close. We're not even. No. It's to the point now where you don't even talk about the MVP race. It's like, the MVP is Asia Wilson. And I don't think we've seen that in any sport thus far. I mean, really in the NFL last year, it was just like it came down to the wire. In the MVP race for the NBA, it came down to the wire. In every other sport, it came down to the wire. Asia Wilson, everybody's already shoo-in in.
The closest. I get to go back to baseball on this one. The closest we've seen to this was last year's AL MVP race, because Shohei Ohtani had that bad boy locked up in July. Yeah. So this is probably the closest we've seen to it. And if you want to throw Ronald Acuna out there, you can, because even though Mookie Betts made that race kind of close, Ronald Acuna Jr. still won that bad boy unanimous. So I mean, the AL and NL MVP race are probably like the two closest we've seen to like just a wire to wire winner, like we're getting with Adrian Wilson here. It's just like her dominance is just like what she's doing in the WNBA right now. It's just something you don't see every day, and folks just need to appreciate this woman for what she's doing on the court because she's slaughtering everybody.
Everybody went for 2020 yesterday. That's how good she is. But let's switch gears, man. We all love basketball. We all love football. Football is coming. But let's get into some wrestling. You know,
let's get it.
Turn to some wrestling. Unfortunately, man, as you get older, your childhood heroes have to leave. And that brings me to my next subject right now. And my main man, John Cena, man, is going to have his farewell tour. So, hey, man, look, I got to ask this question, man, you know, because we grew up, we had the luxury of growing up during the tail end of the golden era. We had the chance to grow up during the new generation era. We had a chance to see the attitude era through and through, the PG era. We had a chance to do a lot of things. And I have to ask this question. With John Cena's farewell tour on the horizon, is he to go to the WWE, not of wrestling, but of the WWE? What are your thoughts? Let's start with you, Flash.
Yeah. Well, sorry, first of all, am I the old fart of the group here?
I'm 36.
I'm 38. I'm 38.
We neck and neck, bro.
I'm 42. Okay, so I'm the old fart of the group. Okay, so I caught the Hogan era too. I think it's really hard to say. I look, for all of Hogan's faults as a person, it's hard to not make him the GOAT because none of this would be a thing without him. Nobody can deny that. That guy can get up in an interview and say that he invented, you know, whatever he wants to say he thinks he invented at that moment in time. It's a running joke on the internet that like and Jim Cornette's show that Hogan just lies about everything.
I don't know. You know what, man? Look, and shout out to PSP, by the way, because he's asking. We're gonna revisit this question. It's John Cena and your Mount Rushmore. We're gonna revisit that momentarily, real quick. But I don't know what it is about Jim Cornette, man. That language that he uses is just colorful.
I love Cornette.
And Cornette is he's just one of those guys that you know, one of those uncles that you like to go to his house to hear him curse. But I don't. But
I
Cornette,
love Cornette, dude. I hated him when he was a manager carrying around that stupid tennis racket. But I love his podcast. Like, he is hilarious. I think it's very, very colorful how he does everything. But I would be remiss. We got a very, very special guest here with us right about now, man. Just got here. Hey, the highlight of Friday nights. I present to you, PSP. What's up, PSP?
What's going on, PSP?
What's good, fellas?
What's up, homie?
What's going on, man?
Chilling, man. Just watching Jim Cornette being his colorful self, but other than that, I'm doing good.
Hey, so I have to ask you this question, and then we'll come back to you, Flash. Is John Cena to go to the WWE? If not, who is?
It's tough. I mean, there are a lot of great ones. I mean, Flash brought up Hogan. I mean, despite what you may want to say about Hogan, the person, I mean, you can't argue that. So you can also argue Ric Flair as the GOAT. But for me, I would go with the guy on my avatar, and that's Stone Cold Steve Austin. And even though he doesn't have longevity compared to a lot of other wrestlers. I think he did it the best to me, especially when the company at that point. I mean, remember they had WWE. They had to take out loans just in order to make payroll, and for him, he was the catalyst for the Attitude Era, and to help take that company and to take it to another level. And plus, in the ring before, unfortunately, the injury he suffered in '97, the SummerSlam by Wrestle Soul Owen Hart, Steve was a very good technician. I don't think Steve, yeah, he was a hell of a technician. And then he had to develop his brawler skills, but personality, pop, ratings, the money, everything else. I give that edge to Steve. I think popularity, you can make an argument for Steve as the most popular. Cena, I think he's one of the greatest to have ever done it. Question is he in your Mount Rushmore?
So I agree. So I've always argued that Austin's peak was higher than Hogan. Like
Right.
his peak and his pops that he would get like is and are insane. My GOAT though, I know we're talking just WWE GOAT, but I know that this dude didn't get the pops that like Hogan or Austin did, but to me the GOAT, and it's like I don't think it's even really that close, is Shawn Michaels. In ring, could be a babyface, could be a heel, original founder of DX. Is if you talk about the best matches of all time, at least 2 to 3 of his are mentioned in the top 5.
Iron Man match, WrestleMania 12 with Bret Hart.
Both of his matches against Taker at the back-to-back WrestleManias.
The Bad Blood, the Hell in a Cell match with Taker.
I mean, you could just find little small his
SummerSlam 02 against Triple H.
Go to Shawn's babyface run, his in-house title match against Mankind and Mick Foley at the time. Go back and watch that match. That's a great match.
Yeah, it was.
Undertaker himself has said it recently in the last couple of years since he's been retired in interviews that Shawn could have a 5-star match with a wet mop. In my opinion, there's no better storyteller in the ring. The moments that we see in flashbacks, like Flair's retirement match, which golly gee willikers, Flair, like, dude, you had the perfect ending to a career. Like that ending with Shawn, like that story was told perfectly. And Flair being Flair and not being able to stay out of the ring, like I fit it. But there is not a better guy to tell a story than Shawn Michaels. In the ring, I think his overall skills as a technician, a high flyer, he could be a brawler when he wanted to. I think it's Shawn, and I think he's the most talented wrestler we've ever seen. And when it comes to Mike in the ring and everything else, like he could be a great heel. Like, and he could flip on a dime to be a heel, and it was great. Like some of the stuff he did with the Hogan run. Unfortunately, it was only one match because Hogan was a little whiny. Kid-friendly show, a little whiny poop face that we didn't get more of that. And Shawn is, and it looks, and you go now the way he's been able to coach these kids in NXT to tell stories in the ring, and look where we're at now and what the talent that we're seeing now come up. So to me, it's Shawn. Shawn is my GOAT. I was lucky enough to meet that man, and I have 2 autographed belts by him and a photograph of him. So he was one of my heroes growing up, and I think he's the GOAT, and it's not even close.
BRF.
Cena's mine. Cena is mine, and the reason why I feel like John Cena is mine, I felt like this for a few years. I think because I'm gonna be honest with you, Austin was mine at one point. What did it for me with Cena the U.S. Open Challenge for one, and giving all the young guys opportunities and having banger matches with them, whether it was Sami Zayn or Dean Ambrose or Adrian Neville or Cesaro, Cody Rhodes when he was freaking Stardust. I mean, just all these guys that he gave a platform to let go out and do their thing. And even though he beat them, but put them on, but elevate them. I think for me, what Cena, what makes him the GOAT for me, it's not just the moments he's had, the great matches that he has had, but it's what he's done for the business, like for the young guys as a whole. Just elevate, like helping elevate so many people. I mean, just recently putting over Solo Sikoa the way he did at that Crown Jewel, putting him over the way he did. I mean, and we can't. And even you could say Cena's not as good. I mean, Cena's definitely not as good a wrestler as Shawn Michaels. But what I liked about Cena was as he got older, and he kind of started to kind of reform and reinvent himself and kind of elevate himself and kind of take himself to a level where he can actually, I guess you could say when they decided to let him wrestle again, the matches that he was able to put on, and particularly the trilogy with AJ Styles, Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, and Royal Rumble between 2016 and 2017, one of the greatest trilogy of matches I have ever seen. Those two never had a bad match. They never had a bad match. And I feel like John Cena's the greatest promo also in the history of the WWE as well. That man on a microphone could sell salt to a slug. He is that good. He is that good on the microphone. Like when it was time to build up a match and sell a match and get people to the arena, he made you feel, and he made you believe that you about to get a high quality match, or somebody was about to get beat down, and then just ultimately as he got older, just developing this rep of like you do not want to go one-on-one with this man in a mic battle. He will destroy you in ways you're not supposed to be destroyed. And it's just, yeah. I appreciate how he would, even though it got to a point, like particularly in the PG era, where people started booing him because they just knew that he was going to win. But it's the fact that he was still able to keep himself up, to keep himself hyped, to keep himself relevant, and just going out there doing what he had to do, and doing it for as long as he's been able to do it too. I just feel like for me with Cena, it's the longevity with the consistency on top of that, and then having really good matches early, pretty much throughout his career. Because the fact that I think one of the big overlooked things about John Cena was the fact that everybody was complaining with WWE how they were never getting 5-star matches, even though a lot of people don't care about the ratings and stuff. And the fact that it was him and CM Punk to get that 5-star rating at 2011 Money in the Bank, it speaks to how good he can be when it's time to go. Because people's like, oh, well, CM Punk carried him through the match. Da, 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 da. If you go back and watch Money in the Bank, John Cena was step for step with that man. If you go back and watch, well, it takes two to tango.
I'm going to push back on that a little bit because you already mentioned something like his trio of matches with AJ Styles. I think that's where Cena kind of falls a little bit short. When he was in the ring with somebody that could lead a match better than him, his matches were stellar. There's a match between there's a couple matches with him and Shawn that are amazing. But I'm telling you right now, Shawn was the one leading that match, and I'm sure AJ Styles was the one leading that match with him and AJ. Not saying that Cena had no input. I'm just saying, like in ring live, I think AJ's leading that match because AJ is very comparable to Michaels when it comes to leading a match and in ring skills and being able to tell a story. So I'm going to push back on that a little bit. I think, but I also want to add to it though that I think his out of the ring stuff that he's done, like with Make-A-Wish and everything else, Like he just seems like if you wanted somebody to be a face of a company, he was like perfect. Like
he was the epitome of what you wanted a role model to be.
Yes.
In and outside the ring, and I think that was great in that era. And I think another great match with John Cena. Kev, you know where I'm about to go on this one. Do you remember Judgment Day 2005 against John Bradshaw Layfield, one of the most
Yes.
rated?
Ooh, the I Quit match.
Yeah, think about how
that's a great match.
Yeah, think about how hardcore and physical that match was. And JBL doesn't get enough credit as far as a heel, because in 2004 and 2005 when he was with SmackDown, remember, the limousine rides, the wrestling god comments that he made. He did had a long reign with the WWE Championship belt. And then you look at and another great match was Cena, the Royal Rumble in 2008, the pop. Like you can just tell, like everyone was losing it, and Jim Ross, the great Jim Ross, commentated that match. I think with Cena, you can make an argument, not only go Mount Rushmore. So if you had to put a Mount Rushmore for me, Austin's got to be in it. You got to include the Undertaker. Hogan has to be in there. And then who else? There's Flair, Rock, Cena. That's not a tough thing to decide now.
Yeah. But you know what? I'm gonna say this, man, and y'all see this smile, so you know what's gonna come. Because I'm not gonna let us have a good show. I'm never gonna do that, man. And this is where the curveball comes in.
Wait.
Oh God! Oh.
Wait, I want to ask a question before you throw your curveball on the Cena thing.
Yeah.
There's talk that he possibly might break Flair's record. Should he?
Yes.
If anybody should, he can.
Okay.
If anybody could, yes, he should.
Why not?
That's been like a hallowed number, like and even Cena's himself has said he doesn't want to go past that, just because out of respect for Flair. But I think at this point,
Flair wants him to do it. Just let him do it. Flair wants him to do it. Just do it.
Oh, he does?
Flair wants him to do it.
Oh, then have it.
Flair, when Rick, I've heard Ric Flair say this numerous occasions. Flair wants him to do it. So they need to just go ahead, find the right moment, and go ahead and pull that trigger and let that man get 17. Flair wants him to do it.
Okay.
And plus, this will also elevate Triple H as well, because, again, BRF, you came on my pod. This could open the floor for him as far as with his Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. This could be if Triple H ever wanted. I feel like he's gonna get that. He's gonna get a solo centerpiece Hall of Fame ceremony for himself. The cherry on the top of it would be to book the perfect storyline for John Cena to get 17. Because we see with Triple H, what he does so great is long-term storytelling. If he could pull this off with Cena and just pull off the right masterpiece for him to get 17, oh yeah, it would be the cherry on top for Triple H.
Mm-hmm. Now it's time for that curveball I was talking about earlier. Hey, so man, look here. Like I said, I'm never gonna let us have a decent show, man. I'm gonna throw a curveball in there one way or another. So battle of the baby faces, man. Who you starting? Who you benching? Who you cutting? Hulk Hogan, John Cena, or The Rock? Who you starting? Who you benching? Who you cutting?
Wait, say the three again.
Hey, battle of the baby faces.
Hogan, Cena, Rock.
Yeah, Hogan, Cena, Rock. Battle of the baby faces. Who you starting? Who you benching? Who you cutting?
I'm gonna start Cena for babyface.
Mm-hmm.
Start Cena. Rock is better as heel to me than babyface. Because we got to go back to the Attitude Era, and then on top of that, he was great as a heel. In this year's WrestleMania. So, and with Hogan, yeah, he did turn heel when he went to WCW and then ultimately with NWO. But I just look at Hulk Hogan. I got to bench Hogan and then I cut Rock as far as babyface. Start Cena, bench Hogan, cut Rock. Only because Rock, in my opinion, is better off as a heel. As far as, getting the type of stuff I want to hear from him. He's braggadocious, bold. I mean, and his mic skills are right up there. So I would go in that regard. Cena, Hogan, Rock.
BRF.
1,000% agree with PSP. I would go the exact same order. And for me, I think Rock has shown an ability. He could flip it on a dime as far as being a baby face and a heel. This is what I'll say for The Rock. This was the best heel work he's ever done.
Oh, by far.
But this was by far the best heel work he's ever done, because when Rock was a heel, it was always like, the mic work and then the braggadocious side of him, like, being able to sell as far as like what he's going to do and all this other stuff. To see a psychotic Rock for the first time added like such a layer I never thought I'd get to see out of him, and he just did it so good. Like I wasn't expecting that to be that good, and it was like the catalyst that you needed. Like if you're gonna stick with the Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns lane for the main event, you just needed that spark. You just needed that catalyst, and Rock playing that final boss role was like chef's kiss. That was so good. So but PSP pretty much hit it on the head. I 1,000% agree with him. You start Cena, you bench Hogan, and you cut Rock.
I think you start Hogan, you bench Rock, and you cut Cena.
Ooh.
Wow.
Wow.
All right. Here's my rationale. All right. Hogan, the longevity that Hogan had in general is insane. Not only if you look at his run as the WWE's top guy, that's what like early 80s to 93 when he leaves and loses to Yokozuna at King of the Ring. Then goes to WCW, builds that up himself, and then is part of, literally, honestly, think about it, the NWO is the catalyst to the whole Attitude Era. The NWO is the catalyst to what pushed Vince and the WWE to change up what they were doing. So you can argue whose idea or who did this or whatever. If Hogan's not a part of that and then the leader of the NWO, it does not work. If they end up going with Sting that day and have Sting walk out and turn on Savage and whoever, it doesn't work. It wouldn't have worked as Sting. It had to be Hogan, because Hogan at its core was a WWE guy. So it had to be Hogan. Not to mention when we finally got that dream match of Hogan and Rock in the ring, who did everybody turn on? Rock. Hogan is a thing. It's just a thing that is literally deep in our blood as a culture. Like you go back and watch that match in Toronto, and that crowd, they are firmly behind Hogan. Like, I mean, it's not even close. And Rock, before this heel run recently, which was in my opinion, his best work since his run with Austin and the Intercontinental run with Austin, not the World Championship run with Austin, but his work in the Intercontinental run that him and Austin had was awesome. That was his best work since then. Anytime Rock would kind of come back, like with the Cena and Rock like feud, Cena kind of went over on him a little bit a couple times. And I think there was like a certain subsect of wrestling fans that were like, we don't want this. It was like in that era of like, we don't want Cena and The Rock. Like, this isn't this. And Hogan just, and Cena, there's a part of me that wants to bench Cena and cut Rock, but you know what I really want? This won't happen. It won't happen. We never got a final Cena heel run where he just handed a mic and really told to go for it. And that's what I kind of want and need to not have him be cut. I just can't put him. It's weird. It's hard for me to put him over Rock. Because I think
and what makes it go ahead, Flash, finish up.
So this is my last point, then you can go. Mm-hmm. Hogan and The Rock puts butts in seats better than Cena. That's my big argument. Those two like consistently will filled arenas. Not saying Cena didn't, but Hogan and Rock and Austin were filling arenas on a different level than even what Cena did. Which is where Shawn, it's hard for me to like. That's my one argument. If you put an argument against Shawn as my GOAT, Shawn didn't put butts in seats like those guys did. Even Cena. That's Shawn's one drawback. Okay, I'm done now. But yeah, that's my order. Start Hogan, bench Rock, cut Cena.
Although Shawn in the late 90s, though, he did some excellent promos, though. I will give
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Shawn's promos are he's like in the top 5 of promo guys, and his run as a babyface and his early heel stuff with Bret Hart and DX and the Hart Foundation was like awesome. But he didn't put like you didn't like if I was a kid, my like not this, but I'm saying like if you're a kid, your dad didn't go like, we're all right, kid, I bought tickets to Saturday night's main event. We're gonna go see Shawn Michaels. Like, no, you're gonna go see Hulk Hogan.
Right.
You're gonna go see The Rock. You're gonna go see Stone Cold Steve Austin. And at a lesser level, you're gonna see Cena. And I think that's where I cut Cena, is that he didn't do that as good as The Rock, Austin, or Hogan. Okay.
Ooh, well, okay, well, I'll add a little bit, and then I have a hot take of my own. But I'll say this though, Cena was supposed to get one more heel run. Blame Vince McMahon for that, because it was because Cena was making too much money off the merch. Because if I recall, because you hear the theme song he was supposed to use. They play it on TikTok like all the time because it was supposed to be his hustle, loyalty, respect song. That was supposed to be his heel song. Cena had merch. Had everything laid out like he was ready to do it, but Vince was scared because Cena made too much money off the merch, so they never pulled the trigger. Yep. But you said something. But you said Shawn Michaels. You said top 5 promo guys. He's not in my top 5 promos.
Ooh.
I have my top 5 promos all time is Austin, Cena, Rock, Flair, and CM Punk.
I think he's better than Punk by a hair.
I don't because what the reason why I take Punk over Michaels is his heel mic work.
Yeah, but
CM Punk's heel mic work.
No. I went on enough. I want to hear your argument why first.
Because for me, it was that run when he was WWE champion after he turned heel, and some of the promos that he cut as a heel, whether it was on Undertaker, whether it was on Bret Hart, whether it was on The Rock, just some of the Vince McMahon himself, like just some of the, and even like when he first became a heel, like that Jeff Hardy world title run, where they actually finally let him talk, like some of those straight edge society, like a lot of the heel promos he was doing was just like, if you didn't watch CM Punk in Ring of Honor, you had no idea he could do this. And they let him do it, and he just took the ball and he just destroyed so many people on the microphone. But I think, and most definitely that's like my top. That's like in my my top 5-6 promos of all time. That pipe bomb. That was like the catalyst to like the summer of Punk. The summer of Punk does not happen without that. And he just.
Hey, listen, CM Punk, my favorite promo, and I told y'all this on the Sports PSP. I promise, because again, we're a family show. The one in which he said about Triple H with him and Stephanie. I'm not. We already know what promo.
Yeah, well, that was nasty work right there. Them fighting words. I got the fight. I got to check you in after you say something like that.
You remember PSP, I think you clipped mine. You remember my favorite CM Punk promo. Your arms are too short to box with God. I mean, You remember that one.
Yes.
Hey,
I don't know, because like Sean, and again, I think it's a different style of promo, like with Sean and CM Punk. CM Punk is like here I go with the analogy again. CM Punk's kind of like the Deadpool of the WWE. He blurs the lines between reality and entertainment. So he crosses that fourth wall a little bit, where Sean is a little bit more of that old school. Well, no, I should take that back, because I mean we all remember Sunny Days.
I'm about to say Shawn Michaels would blur some lines himself back in the day.
Hey, listen, in the words of Kevin Nash, Sean had nothing to lose.
No. And you go look at the promo, and there wasn't even anybody in the ring. Go look at the promo that he dropped in Canada, and he faked that like Bret Hart was coming out.
Oh yeah, 2005. Oh yeah, that was classic.
Dude, I thought dude was gonna get murdered on the way out of that place. Like
I did too.
Dude, that was pure heat. I mean, that's where I understand if you put Punk in at 5. Like, I don't think Sean. I don't like Flair. I'm a Flair hater, and really? I know I'm talking to some Georgia guys right now, and that's I'm not a Flair guy. Flair was always the guy that I just wanted to punch in the face. And I know that's part of his thing, and you should feel that way a little bit. But, like, his early promo work is phenomenal. That's true. I'm trying to take my, like, I'm trying to be unbiased. Punk has an ease to him when he's handed a mic. But I will say this, if you go just back to Raw this past Monday. Everybody watched Raw this past Monday?
Yeah.
I thought what Rollins and him did in the ring on that promo back and forth was.
I love that segment.
It was one of the few times that Punk looked, and I know it was supposed to play out this way because that's the story they're telling, which I just wanted to point. I made a TikTok video about I think Monday night, this last Monday night's Raw was some of the most beautiful storytelling and writing for an episode of Raw in like a long time. But what those two did in the ring together for a promo, and it's not often that Punk gets humbled in the ring on the mic, and Rollins did a great job. And I just think that that was just awesome to see. I just wanted to bring that up because I thought that was an awesome promo thing. But putting Punk over him a little bit, but I just think Shawn had the heat that Shawn could get was on another level.
I hear you, and I mean, it's definitely a really good argument. I definitely hear you. I don't know. I guess in this era, as far as like the mic work and where it kind of like really needed to go, with like the social media and all that stuff, everything kind of being blurred as one. I just feel like how we say like for the culture. Like for the social media culture, most for the culture when it comes to like social media, being able to stuff like that, and I don't know, it was just always something about his promos and how it I don't know, I don't know, I'm definitely not being biased because like Shawn Michaels has cut some of my favorite promos too. Like I think he's one of the more underrated mic workers in the history of wrestling. I don't think Shawn Michaels gets talked about enough for his mic work.
No,
but I just CM Punk he always had a way of just like, I guess for me with him it was top factor. It was always top factor with him. Just like he had no like another one of my favorite promos was his. It was like after like he was where the new Nexus was kind of like fading and doing all that stuff, and then he's this was like after the pipe bomb where they cut the mic off, and then he comes back with the megaphone, and he it's like it's that line where it's like, I have the balls to say things other people don't have the balls to say, and it's just like, I don't know, and I just feel like nobody could. I don't know. I just feel like for a good stretch, I just feel like as far as mic work, nobody could touch him with a 20-foot pole. Yeah. And I don't know. And I don't know. I appreciated how he was able to work the mic, how he was able to work the crowds, and just I don't know. I don't know. It's a certain level to him that I can really appreciate. That's why I have him in my 5. I mean, I'm not gonna knock and argue against Shawn Michaels. It's just my support for CM Punk why I have him in my top 5.
I get it.
Hey, first of all, before we go into the next segment, shout out to Mr. Watson, the No Rules podcast, and the Sports for Youth podcast. Tune in to them every single Tuesday and Wednesday at 7 Western Standard Time, Pacific Time, excuse me. Shout out to Mr. Watson, man. OG, great guy. Now, man, look here. I got to ask this question before we leave. There's been a lot of families in wrestling. A hell of a lot of families. We had the Von Erichs. You've had the Gunyans. You had the Harts. You had a little bit of everybody. But I will say this. Recently, the Bloodline family as a whole, from the Fatus to the Anoa'i family, I don't know if I'm saying the name right, they have been putting star after star in the WWE and all over the place. So I have to ask this question. I know it's too early. I know recency bias is in full effect when I ask this, but I have to ask this. Is the Bloodline family as a whole, the greatest family in wrestling history at this point in time, man? We'll start with you, Flash.
Yeah. I don't think it's even really. I think at one point it was the Hart family. And you could argue that the Hart family was not even just the Hart family, but then the extension of what Stu Hart did in the dungeon and all the guys that he trained in there. And you could still make a good argument for the Hart family. The problem is that they don't have anybody anymore. Really, that's an established star in wrestling. I'm just going to be. I'll probably be a little mean about it. Natalia's been one of the most boring wrestlers of the last 30 years. So, as a family, they've just kind of lost that. There's been so much tragedy in that family, and it's sad that. And I'm going to be a little harsh right now too. That kind of what the Hart family's known for now is Owen dying, and then Brett going in interviews complaining about Goldberg all the time, and it's just which is really sad. But when it comes to the greatest family, I don't think it's any other family. I mean, you could argue the roads, but they showed the tree at that one promo in Vegas. It's insane, and not to mention, like, you have one of those guys that's on it's arguably could be on the Mount Rushmore of wrestlers of all time, and Roman Reigns, who's probably the biggest star right now, like, and has been, and then you throw in guys like Yokozuna, and I mean, it's kind of endless. Like, it just kind of keeps going. So, I mean, I'm looking. I mean, you have Rocky Johnson. Like, I'm looking at the tree right now.
Rikishi, don't forget about Rikishi.
Yeah, Rikishi. Umaga. It's just so vast that I don't think. Heck, even Superfly Jimmy Snuka is part of that family tree.
Yes.
Like, I just, it's so vast and so big. It's like the Bill Walsh coaching tree. It's just too much. It's just, you can't surpass it. The problem with the Rhodes family, it's too small. It's too small. It's Cody, Dustin, and Dusty, which is fine. But then after that, it's just kind of like, eh. And then the Hart family, I kind of went over that. And the only other family that you could really bring into it would be
the Wyndham family.
The Wyndhams, and then the
Von Erichs.
Von Erichs, thank you. And they're not. They're nowhere near the Harts, in my opinion, and they're not even close to the bloodline. Like, not even. So I don't even think it's an argument. I think it's the bloodline and everybody else.
BRF.
Yeah, you had said something like before the segment was underway. Like, there might be some recency bias. There's not even recency bias in this.
No,
there's not even recency bias in this. You go to, I mean, they have Hall of Famers galore in this family. Whether it's like Yokozuna, the Wild Samoans, rest in peace, the Roman Reigns father who just passed away. Rest in peace to him. Prayers and condolences to the family. Wild Samoans Hall of Famer, Yokozuna Hall of Famer. I mean, like, just championships like everywhere. Rikishi, I mean, the amount of times that he was able to reinvent himself until ultimately finding his biggest success as the Rikishi character, winning an Intercontinental Championship. You got, I mean, obviously you got the Usos, arguably the greatest tag team in the history of the WWE. And then even the women, Nia Jax, winning Queen of the Ring, being a former World Women's Champion. I mean, you might as well throw Naomi in there. She's married. You might as well throw Naomi in there. She's married to Jimmy, SmackDown Women's Champion on 2 separate occasions. Yeah, like he's like, Superfly and Jimmy Snuka is part of the family. Just like Mike, I mean, strength. They are the definition of strength and numbers when it comes to just how deep that family runs, but yet how good so many of them have been. I don't think it's recency bias. I don't think this is one of those where I'm going to say it's not even that close.
No, it's not.
It's not that close. Too many of them have been successful on such a level. I mean, it's impossible to put another family over the Fatu / Anoa'i family. It's too much. They're too deep. They are way too deep. That family is the greatest in the history of wrestling, and it's by, like, in my opinion, it's leaps and bounds. Like, it's not even close.
No, I don't think it'll ever be surpassed either.
Roman's dad passed before the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. So because they showed him on IG a lot. Like, he was still fighting as long as he could. Like, you see him, he was taking a picture or whatever. He was still, with a smile on his face. And I think that was the one thing I appreciated about Sika Anoa'i. It's just no matter what was going on with him, flashing the thumb with the pictures, smiling, till he ultimately, took his last breath. And you just like I said, prayers and condolences to the family, but just and the fact that there's more coming with all the sons, like Jacob making it to the WWE finally. You got Zilla. You got Journey now. I mean, there's more, and they're all good.
Plus, let's not forget the Uso twins. Let's not forget the Uso twins.
Oh no! I mentioned them. They're arguably the greatest tag team in the history of the company. Was what I said earlier. So yeah, you definitely can't forget them. I mean, it's just
better than the Road Warriors?
Huh?
Better than the Road Warriors?
I said arguably, but I mean, how can you not make a case? All the dang banger matches they were having from like that first initial heel run, like that ridiculous rivalry they had with the New Day, and then that 600 and something day reign as Undisputed as tag team champions, all the banger matches they were having, and all the championships that they won. I mean, it's not crazy to make it's not crazy to make a case. It's not crazy to make a case.
Than Harlem Heat, BRS.
I'm gonna say it's crazy, and the reason why is the same thing I was talking about before. Is the Road Warriors are one of the few, if not the only, tag team that when you turn to your kid like, we're gonna go see the Road Warriors tonight. That they were that team that you went to go see specifically. You went to go to that show specifically to see them. I don't think there's a lot of people that are like, man, I'm gonna get my SummerSlam ticket to go see the Usos like that. I don't.
Hey,
they also have a WrestleMania main event though.
Hey, piggybacking off of what you said, Flash, you got to think about what that pop is called. It's called a Road Warrior pop.
Yeah.
That pop originated because of how the Road Warriors came out there. I will continue to beat the drum every single day for the
Yeah, it's all I don't think it's here, and I don't think it's the Usos' fault. I think the problem is, I think the argument would be better is if tag team wrestling was more of a priority like it was back then. Tag team wrestling, let's be honest, is nowhere near what it was when the Road Warriors were coming up, or even when you go back to like when it was Edge and Christian, the Dudleys and the Hardys. Like, tag team wrestling, unfortunately, is a real big afterthought right now, and it has been for a while. And the Usos are unfortunately were just part of that era of, and they have been that. Even Triple H hasn't figured that out yet. As good of a booker as he is, they haven't figured out the women's tag team. They haven't figured out really like what to do with the tag team titles in the division. I mean, tag team wrestling used to be huge, and now nobody really cares.
All right. Okay. So to kind of defend myself a little bit, I did say arguably. I didn't say they were. I didn't say they were. Like, because I mean, I'm still look, as far as like who I feel are the greatest ever, I'm still taking the Road Warriors over them. PSP, you asked me Harlem Heat. Of course, I'm taking Harlem Heat over them. I mean, the only thing I hate about Harlem Heat is they didn't make WWE. That's the only thing I hate. We never got to see Harlem Heat in the WWE. That's the only thing I hate. I'm taking the Road Warriors. I'm taking Harlem Heat. I'm taking the Dudleys. I'm taking the Hardys.
What about the Rockers?
The Rockers, not over the no. I'm not taking the Rockers.
I love Shawn. Like, Shawn Michaels is one of my he's one of my heroes, legitly. And the Rockers didn't win enough, and the things that they're the two things that they're best for is like actually the thing that they're actually the best thing that they're known for is when
it's Sean turning on Marty.
What?
It's Sean turning on Marty.
That's what they're really known for.
Barbershop incident.
It's the barbershop.
But also too, let's not forget. Remember, they were there for like the WWE for like a week, and then they screwed it up because of the partying and outgoing stuff, and then they went to Continental Wrestling.
Yeah, well, and we never got what we should have gotten was a long run of the Rockers versus the Hart Foundation, and we never. we had the one title thing where like the Rockers did beat them, and then the ring ropes broke, so then it was flip, and and that was that should have been like we should be talking about a run between those two tag teams still to this day, and we never got it.
Right. Chip, as far as greatest tag team is the Bloodline, because at the end of the day, I hate to use the analogy, they're the Alabama. They're the Alabama of the WWE. It was Nick Saban with all the embarrassment and riches that he's accumulated. That's how I look at the Bloodline, or Duke with Mike Krzyzewski. But I will admit this with the Hart family, though. If you want to learn anything from a technical standpoint, you want to go watch the Hart family. And, they did open some doors for a lot of other people. Russell Soul, Brian Pillman, had not been for issues. Brian Pillman had a heck of time with WCW with the Hollywood Blondes with Steve Austin. And plus, Chip, you've been on my pod. You've made the argument the greatest, the point that turned the Attitude Era was Bret Hart versus Stone Cold, WrestleMania 13. You've made that argument as well. I would still pick the Bloodline, but I wouldn't have a problem with anyone making the argument for the Hart family just because of the royalty and how they set the match, set the tone, and how they gave opportunities for other wrestlers along the way. Even Steve Austin to this day, if it weren't for Bret Hart, Stone Cold wouldn't be where he is right now. Yeah. And also with Stu Hart being the promoter as well. And also him taking the time in his house to teach wrestlers like techniques and things of that nature. So I'll still pick the Bloodline, but I'm not mad if you say Hart family.
Can I just run off a list of guys, because we're kind of in a little way, we're kind of cheating in a way because of like not all these guys were family, but I just want to rattle off some names that train in the dungeon. Abdullah the Butcher, Brian Pillman.
Really?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Abdullah the Butcher trained in the dungeon?
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho, Christian, the Bulldog, all the Hart brothers in general, the Dynamite Kid, Edge, Fritz Von Erich, Greg
Von Erich trained in the dungeon?
Yep. Greg Valentine, obviously Owen and Brett, Jim Neidhart, Jake the Snake Roberts, the Junkyard Dog, Ken Shamrock, Lance Storm, Mark Henry, who else? Steve Blackman, Tyson Kidd, Superstar Billy Graham. Like, PSP's right. Like that. They're not actually family, but the legacy of what that dungeon is
in terms of cultivating and helping out other wrestlers and making a name for themselves.
Yes,
you got to give the Hart family that.
Yes,
and you make the argument for the Hart family with the Bloodlines as far as with the new wrestlers. No, unfortunately. No. But in terms of developing other wrestlers, as you mentioned, with Chris Jericho, Edge, Dynamite Kid, I'm more shocked with Abdullah the Butcher because I thought he learned from the Sheik. I didn't know that he went to the dungeon and learned from Stu Hart. That's news to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's news to me too. Hell, I didn't realize that Superstar Billy Graham trained there. I didn't realize half of those guys.
Mark Henry shocked me. I was like, wow.
Yeah, I didn't realize Fritz Von Erich, the original Von Erich, trained at the dungeon.
Stu was. Go back. There's a document. I want to go. I should look it up again. Stu was like him in Canada. Like if you wanted to go and learn technical wrestling, that's even if you were in America, that's where you went. Was Stu Hart like that?
And they were tough.
Yeah.
Like Cornette talked about the story in which he was cooking eggs, and then they had a bunch of cat bleep, and then wiped all that stuff off. So sorry, Chip, but
no, go ahead and say it, man. It's funny.
It made them tough. No, it made them tough, and plus the daughters of Stu Hart, weren't they married to like wrestlers at the time?
Yeah, Bulldog's wife was a Hart.
Bulldog was married to Diana.
Diana. Yeah. And then I forgot. And one of the daughters was married to
Neidhart's wife.
Handle, yeah.
Natalia father, she married to the family.
Yeah.
But,
so the Hart family is there's an argument, I think, but I think the bloodline is it's a different type of argument. That's the problem. Is that
Right.
you can make an argument that the Dungeon and the Hart family has affected wrestling more than what the bloodline family has, but if we're talking just pure family, it's the bloodline.
Hey man, look, I'm gonna just be real with you, man. Hey, I say the bloodline is the greatest of all time because of the star power. You know, the star power you just can't beat. I mean, and that's for each generation. You know, and the thing is, just like BRF said, it's not stopping it at any time soon. I mean, it's not stopping. So, real quick, I gotta ask this question real quick, man, before we move on and try to end the show. Gotta ask this question. Got to throw another curveball in there. Survivor Series elimination match. Who wins? The original bloodline or the Hart Foundation?
Ooh.
Like DX era Hart Foundation?
DX era Hart Foundation
like
or
Ben
the bloodline?
Shamrock and Brian Pillman and Owen.
Yeah, Owen, Brent, British Bulldog, Neidhart.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to ask. Who are we? Which five? Who are we picking?
All right, we'll go the whole Hart Foundation. I mean, I don't think Brian Pillman was healthy enough back then, so you had to go with the four. You had to go with those four because remember Brian Pillman was on crutches half the time when he was in the foundation.
So Brett, Owen, Anvil, and
Bulldog versus the Usos, Roman Reigns. And well, hell, you know, since they don't have a fourth, we'll throw Rocky in there.
Well, wouldn't it be Solo?
Oh, my bad, Solo. Excuse me, my fault.
Well,
Hart Foundation, Bloodline.
I feel like okay. I'll take this verse. I feel okay because I'm trying to think of like a four. Okay, so Brett, Owen, Anvil, Bulldog. My four. Roman, Rock. Oh boy. If I had to pick I'm thinking about the best, like the best four singles wrestlers of the bloodline is what I'm thinking here. So that's y'all gonna hate me for this. Y'all gonna hate me for this one. Y'all gonna hate me for this one. But if you're gonna give me, in my opinion, the best four singles wrestlers of the bloodline in terms of just sheer talent, oh gosh, as much as I love Superfly Jimmy Snuka, he's not in my four. He's not in my four. But Roman Reigns, Rock, Yokozuna, and Umaga are wiping those boys.
Oh, so you're going like bloodline, yeah, like not the actual group.
Yeah, like I'm thinking about four. I'm thinking like the four. Like if I just took four of them and go against now if you want to go like the faction, like if you want to go Roman, like if you're gonna go Roman, Usos, and Solo,
yeah,
against the Hart Run, I'm still picking the bloodline, to be honest with you.
Really?
Because it's the Roman Reigns factor, man. If you're gonna build a story, let's say if you were to build a storyline with this, like heel Roman Reigns, like he's ruthless, man. He's ruthless. Like he doesn't care. Like he's as good as those guys were in the Hart Foundation. Like one on one, like in a fight against this Roman Reigns. Like, oh boy. I'm still picking Roman, the Usos, and Solo. If we're gonna go the true faction, I'm going. Oh Lord, it's close. I think it's close, just because like the Hart Foundation could adapt to any scenario as far as like how to wrestle, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's the technical prowess of the Hart Foundation. It's the technical prowess. I mean, you can't argue against it. But
I'm gonna get some hate. I'm
going blood. I'm gonna let you go, Flash. I'm going Bloodline.
I think Owen and the Bulldog are a better tag team than the Usos.
Yeah.
I can see that from a technical standpoint.
I just think they're a better tag team. So if I'm going one for one, and so it's Owen, it's Owen, Brett, Bulldog, and Anvil versus the Usos, Solo, and Roman. Yeah, like I take I think the only bigger one in that is Roman.
Roman's the X factor of the entire match.
But Brett's like, let's take like crabby old Brett out of this. Like prime Bret Hart is prime Bret Hart.
Yes.
I agree. But some
number 2 or 3 on the guy that could have like a 5-star match with a wet mop. Like Duke could have a great match.
Bret Hart would be that guy. He's the type of guy that if you have a match with the Broom, he can make the Broom look like a superstar.
Yes.
And he also can brawl as well too.
Yeah. Go back to his run with Michaels and then Austin.
Yeah.
Like
I don't he could, but I don't think he's on the Roman Reigns level of brawling. I just don't. No, a brawling. I just don't know. I know. I don't. I know you got the submission. You got the submission match with Austin. I know, Brett. I just know.
All right.
I just.
If we're talking pure storyline, like let's just take let's go pure storyline aspect of it. The X factor would be the tumultuous relationship between Brett and Owen that would be the undoing of the Hart Foundation.
True.
There, up until Roman lost the title, there was undying loyalty to Roman Reigns. Well, I know I shouldn't say that. No, because Jimmy, no, I'm lying there too. So,
yeah.
Oop, man, no, I'm sorry. I'm going Hart Foundation. I think if you go down the line, you could argue that Roman is, I can't say it. You could maybe argue that he's better than Brett, but I think Owen and Bulldog are a better tag team, and I think Anvil and Solo are kind of on the same level.
Hey,
on the same level.
Yeah.
Hey, let's let PSP go. Man. I'm gonna come back, y'all. PSP, man.
Wow, you putting my ass on the spot, huh? Oh man, this is tough. I was thinking the Bloodline because of the dominant part. It's hard for me to ignore the Hart family because of what they do technically, and I'm always big on technical wrestlers. Owen and Bulldog, they were a really good tag team duo. So I think from that type of standpoint, tough. But I give the Hart family a slight edge because somehow, some way, one of the member of the Usos and Roman decide to mess up. I still believe Owen and Brett in a situation of that magnitude, they would be able to capitalize it. So I give the Hart family the slight edge, though.
Hey, for me, classic Survivor Series, the Hart Foundation versus the original Bloodline. I'm taking the Hart Foundation simply because Brett had chemistry with each and every last one of his partners as a tag team. Each and every last one of them. he's teamed with every last one of them, so he could work with it. And plus, people don't realize Bret was the leader of the new generation. When not that many people were watching wrestling at a certain time, Bret Hart could bring eyeballs to wrestling.
Yeah.
Now, one can argue that the new generation was the lost generation because people wasn't necessarily paying attention to it at all times like we are now and like we did in the Attitude Era. But the thing was, if you want to go see someone, Bret Hart was that guy. He was that guy. And
he was also marketable.
Yes, he was. Especially him as a babyface. So Hart Foundation versus the Bloodline, man, I'm taking him because the thing is, it's going to come down to the team that can outlast the other team. That's how it always goes down in these classic Survivor Series matches. And I think that the Harts can outlast the Bloodline. Just the original Bloodline versus the original Hart Foundation. Hey, Bloodline might have the bigger stars, but the Harts had the better wrestlers. Let's just keep it real. Keep it all the way 100. So, but man, anybody got to push back on that, man? I love to hear it.
No, I mean, that's the only reason why I picked the Harts, because from the technical standpoint, because if we're talking about in the ring in specifically, can you name anyone better than the Hart family? Plus, BRF, you've made the argument Owen Hart is a better technician than Bret.
I have, but I don't know, man. Just I'm sorry, man. It's just, and I get it. They both sides have had like their like dissensions and like disagreements. I'm sorry, man. It's the ruthlessness of Roman Reigns for me, man. I just can't get past it. I can't. And let's say the match goes, and let's just say for hypotheticals, let's say the Hart Foundation gets Roman Reigns in a 2-on-1. There aren't too many singles guys I'm picking in a 2-on-1 over him. Just and particularly that one performance he had in Survivor Series 2013, where it was like, I think it was like 3-on-1 or 4-on-1 something, and he just came back and ran the gauntlet and ran the table when he was still with the Shield. Like, Roman has just always had a thing for like these big matches. Like, no matter who he's gone up against, he's just always had a thing, and he's just always been able to find a way, like no matter what. So, and I guess, like in just okay, this is what I'll say: a regular elimination match, saying the Hart family would beat them isn't crazy. But with the change going, like War Games, I'm not picking anybody over the Bloodline. But a regular elimination match, yeah, I can see it. But war game style, no. But an elimination style match, I can see it.
Is there no outside interference whatsoever? Like none.
None. Mono.
I mean mono. War Games, no. Elimination match, I can see it.
Okay. I'm still sticking with slight edge to the Hart Foundation. Although I do agree, if you go back to like the run with the Shield versus the Wyatts and Roman and Seth going like yeah, I don't disagree. I just think, again, I think we forget a little bit. Prime Bret was
no joke.
Yeah, like 90, like late 92 to 90. I'd even say 7 Bret.
Mm-hmm.
With his heel run as in the Hart Foundation against Austin. Like, he's great. Like, I need to go back and watch that stuff. Because, I mean, he Sean gets, and I've done this too, Sean gets a lot of credit for getting Taker to that next level. Go back and watch some old school Bret Hart and Undertaker matches. Bret's the one that gets him, and Taker actually just admitted it in an interview recently, that Bret's the one that got him to evolve that character in the ring more than anybody else. So, right. Like,
even though Taker has said that in the ring there's nobody he would work with than Shawn.
Yes, but Bret got that Undertaker character to start going away from, I think his word, from like the Frankenstein character, where
no question.
It started to evolve into something different. And go back and watch Brett and Undertaker matches. Like he's really what got that ball being pushed down the hill. Shawn took it to a whole nother level. Don't get me wrong, but Brett got the bowling ball going.
You know, I'm sorry, champ, but the biggest tragedy with Bret Hart's career in WCW, he never had a match with Hulk Hogan.
They should have did that from the jump.
But they made him to be a referee.
And then they had him join the NWO with him. I'm like, what are you doing?
They had no plan at that point. At that point, it was literally just throwing paychecks at people. There wasn't a plan. Like you couldn't have been handed a better thing with him. That's the dumb thing too. Like he's coming off the Montreal screw job, and they don't even have him on TV for like weeks.
Yeah, he would have come to WCW until December of '97.
Yeah, like if I'm Bischoff, and he didn't even have a no compete clause. I don't either.
No.
So,
he went straight over.
If I'm Bischoff, dude, all I do, and Brett walks in the door first night on Nitro, and I go, "Here's a microphone. Go have fun." And then I go, "All right, well, what is your first feud?" The first feud, I don't think you could have done Hogan right away because the Hogan and Sting thing was going on. You had to finish that story. But
who's next? It's just like Sting versus Hogan. And guess what? They redid, even if you had him as a referee, you already redid the screw job with him in the ring.
Yeah.
So guess what? That January pay-per-view, I think it's sold out. Guess what? Hogan versus Bret Hart.
Yeah. If Hogan would have been smart enough.
That's a million buys right there.
No, if Hogan would have been smart enough to to actually go and Sting. All right. Like they all screwed that up. You're right. They could have done a thing where Brett comes. The problem is that you can't make Brett the heel. He's got to be the baby face in that factor.
Has Diamond Dallas Page turned heel yet?
No, he's in that feud with Randy Savage at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in the feud with that Randy Savage at this point. But
Because I think a face Bret Hart versus a heel Diamond Dallas Page would have been an awesome feud too.
Yeah.
we never got to see him. We never got to see Bret Hart versus Randy Savage. We never did. We?
No.
I mean, we never got to see.
Hell,
Bret
we didn't
Hart,
even see Bret Hart when he faced Booker T.
Yeah, we got to see him face Booker T.
I'm sorry.
But it ended in a small.
What about him versus Eddie?
No.
Never got
Bret Hart in WCW is one of the biggest missed opportunities because of what you said, Flash. They were more worried about getting people paid as opposed to putting the best matches out there.
Can you imagine, like, this is a guy that's like not talked about a lot in general when it comes to technical wrestling, but can you imagine a feud between Bret Hart and Dean Malenko?
You're talking to me, Flash. You're talking to me.
Yeah,
But
I mean, by the time he faced,
incompetency of Bischoff.
What?
That speaks to the incompetency of Eric Bischoff, I think, because of how Eric Bischoff, Champ and I, we had this conversation about with WCW, with Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo. And with Bischoff, you develop talent. When you have talent like a Bret Hart and guys like that, it's your job to utilize them and put them into situations. And the fact that you've had a generational talent like a Bret Hart in WCW and to improperly utilize him, that is just a travesty.
You could have lined up Bret Hart against the cruiserweights and just watch him go to work.
Yeah, can you imagine versus Ray?
Right.
Brett and Juventud Guerrero, Brett and Psychosis at the time, Flash said Brett and Eddie. Like, bro, you could have lined him up against all the cruiserweights and just watch him do work.
Yeah.
One of the greatest forgotten matches in WCW, though, with Bret Hart. And unfortunately, man, I know we're not supposed to say anyone's name, but I have to. I must. The greatest match that he ever wrestled was with him in the memory of his brother. When he won with the night after his brother passed away,
we can say his
and
name.
he fought Chris Benoit.
I think we can say his name. I think we're all adults here. Like, I know the man committed a heinous act, but I mean, like, it still was. He still had a wrestling career. Like, it was still a thing. So yeah, I agree. I think. Excuse me. I think that that is his greatest match, which is sad.
Yeah, that's his greatest match. And to be honest with you, that should have been the main event of that show. We want me to be honest with you. But I mean, and if you really think about it, Chris Benoit, he won over on Bret Hart. He won the WCW title over Bret Hart. I mean, that was another great match. So I think there's a lot of missed opportunities. I mean, Hogan versus Bret Hart, it should have happened twice over. Should have happened in the WWE so that Hogan could truly pass the torch to Bret Hart and the new generation, and it should have happened in WCW. That was the match that would have drawn like flies to molded food right there. So that would have been awesome.
I feel like the two biggest missed opportunities WCW had was, I definitely think Bret Hart is one of their biggest missed opportunities, but I think one of their biggest missed opportunities that not a lot of people talking about, and they should have allowed the cruiserweights to really step up as far as like going up against like the heavyweights and stuff like that, just to see what they could have done. Just like have them actually let them get an opportunity for like just an opportunity for main event splash, just to see what they could have done. Like I think
the most embarrassing moment for WCW to me is when David Arquette won the title, and meanwhile Booker T, he didn't even win not one. Until Bash at the Beat. That to me is just laughable.
Yeah, and it took that situation with Hogan for Booker T to win that. That's what I really hate about it, though. Because, I mean, like, WWE, Rey Mysterio wins the World Heavyweight Championship. Chris Jericho wins World Championships. Eddie Guerrero became a WWE champion. I'm like, bro, if WWE saw they had that in them, how could you not? How could WCW not? It's like, man.
Yeah, a lot of crazy things in WCW. A lot of crazy things, man. But you know what? WCW and mismanagement deserves its own show, because unfortunately right now, I wish we had more time, but unfortunately we don't. But it's been a hell of a show. But I would be remiss if I didn't say this. PSP, you have the floor. Let the people know where to follow you at, and let them know where to tune in to your show at tomorrow.
Sports PSP podcast tomorrow night, 9 p.m. We're just going to discuss Paul George going to the Philadelphia 76ers. We're going to discuss some Team USA. We may talk about BRONNY. We definitely going to talk about John Cena and NFL. Which wide receiver are you depending on in 2024, or who will have the better year between Justin Jefferson or Tyreek Hill? Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Always a pleasure being on the Champ Podcast, man. And that's where to follow me. That's where you can follow me.
BRS Sports is the TikTok handle as always. Drell112285 is the IG. Linktree is in the bio of my TikTok page, Big Sugar 1122. I got my X/Twitter. I have my Facebook page as well. Just click the links, man. Show me some love. I'm gonna keep doing this. Champ, as always, I always have the greatest of times with you on this pod. PSP, man, I love your work and what you do. Flash, your video you did about Dom and Raw, the storytelling video you did. Oh man, so good, just good. I love what all your brothers are doing, man, and we just gonna keep this thing. We're gonna keep this ball rolling. We're gonna keep it pushing. And it's like I always say, a topic not thought about is a topic not talked about. It is always a pleasure, fellas.
Always a pleasure.
Flash.
You catch me at Flash22 on TikTok, as well as from Dad Bod to Rad Bod. Also, I'm doing a fitness journey thing, and I don't have time to do a YouTube of my own podcast yet, but that's something that's going to come down the road. You can also catch me on Instagram, same thing, Flash22. You can see all of our stuff. I think we all share our stuff, and yeah, tune in, support, like, comment, subscribe. It's the only way that stuff gets shared and everything like that. And it's not a hot take; it's the right take.
Yes, indeed. Hey, shout out to every last one of you. I am the Undisputed Champ. I am on TikTok. Hey, follow me on Instagram, World Champ _2.0. Next week, though, we will be revisiting the death of WCW, and as an added bonus, we will be revisiting the baseball, and we will be revisiting the top 10 greatest baseball teams of all time, courtesy of BRF and Flash. So tune into that show next week, because they're going to give you some heat on that show. I can guarantee you. I'm going to be biased and always say the 95 Braves are the greatest team of all time, but I can't wait till these guys show y'all who the real greatest team of all time is. But on that note, man, it's time to end the show. I hope every last one of you have a great weekend. And, hey, keep doing good things, and good things will come to you. And always remember one thing. It's better to be thought of as a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. Peace.
Peace.